what a tremendous goal! 1-0 to Barcelona.
And up and down the inside of Lando Norris. There's a big look up.
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Sports Bleep Live. Tonight promises to be amazing as always. My name is Prince Wally, your chief servant, and this right here, don't forget, is Salvation TV, Sports Bleep Live, original to you from Port Harcourt, the Garden City of Nigeria. I'm not alone at the studio as usual. I've got great men here with me as often as it always transpires. I've got Mr. Siri Dunwite, my far right, far left. Mr. Siri, welcome.
Well, happy post-independence to you, Prince.
All right, story for another day, independence. Okay. But this man yabbed me a while ago. I'm the one that is looking takeaway.
It was a compliment. You're looking takeaway.
All right, thank you. It's a compliment, so I'm supposed to accept that. Okay. Don't forget to join the conversation. Leave your messages on WhatsApp as soon as possible. The number is going to be displayed on screen as soon as we give a go to that. I have a message on WhatsApp. I'm going to read that much later from just Plateau State. But for now, let's get the show on the road. We will talk some marathon stories where Joyce, emerged as the London Marathon champion.
Well, Jocelyn kept just school guy actually.
That's why I avoided that name because pronouncing some of these names sometimes.
Jocelyn, just a guy from Kenya, actually won that London Marathon at the weekend. This is a 42.2 kilometer race where we saw her amongst the 80,000 participants that took part in the race in London. And this is one of the biggest marathon race you can find in the world. And she did it in 2 hours, about 17 minutes and 4 seconds or thereabout, and 43 seconds. And that was a remarkable time. That time has actually put her to be the 7th fastest woman in the world. And
wow.
That's really good.
That's massive.
And for all of her effort, she's taking home about $55,000 US. And if you earn $55,000 US in 2 hours, I think that's a handsome pay.
That's good business.
Good pay. And it was really impressive run, especially for the fact that she was running at the London Marathon for the very first time. She's never been to the London Marathon before. The only major marathon that she had competed in, and of course that she won, was the New York City Marathon 2 years ago in 2019, when she won both the half marathon and the marathon. Well, in 2021, she had the defending champion of the London Marathon in the person of Bridget Kosgei, of course. When you hear of Kosgei and Jeb Kosgei, similar, both of them Kenyans. Should I say relatively young ladies when you consider the age they are at in marathon. Jeb Kosgei, 28 years old. Bridget Kosgei is 27 years old, and she was the defending champion. I think she won it back-to-back, won it in 2019, that's the London Marathon, won it in 2020, but unfortunately for her on the day, I think we've been talking about it before, where we've had athletes engage in too many activities, and that seemed to have taken a toll on her, because she was in the marathon just 6 weeks ago and then came back to the London Marathon, so her body, it took a toll on her body, and she had to settle for a place outside of the first position. She was going for gold, but Joycelyn Jeb Kosgei was on hand to win her very first London Marathon gold at her very first London Marathon, which is quite remarkable. It's not something that happens very often, but one thing that happens very often is having a Kenyan win in the women's race, and it didn't change for 2021.
No, just the beauty about it is that she elected not to defend the New York City Marathon, where she won, and entered into the London Marathon. And on her first, entrance, she's won it, and I think that's good planning. You have to balance your body, to the races you are entering into. And she's went in and picked the very first prize, and I think that's good. She has good management of her system. Like Meredith mentioned, she's having a very good age, about 29 or so, and so she knows how to manage her body and aim at winning. And so it's nice that she has a program, and that program has resulted into victory for her. And I like when you select competitions you enter into and maximize the effect of that selection. I think that's what she has done here, and the beauty of it, like he mentioned as well, if a Kenyan wins a marathon event, who is coming second, who is coming third? It's an Ethiopian. That's what happened in. If you look at the male category, we had Cisse Lemaire winning Ethiopian, and the other two second and third place are Kenyans. That's for the male. Yeah. Then in the female, you have a Kenyan winning. Then the second and third going to Ethiopia. So if it's marathon, then it has to be Kenya. It has to be Ethiopia now or Kenya.
They don't have crude oil, but they've got their marathon going for them.
Yeah, that's
certainly.
certainly.
And they make sure that they exert that dominance every time that they turn up.
You know, there are some these marathon races where you win as much as $150,000 US. You know, and that's a lot of money. You know, for your country, a lot of money for the athletes, and you know, for the sports generally. If you enter into at least 5 of these and you get that kind of money over the years, you know, in a year you earn such amount in 5 races. That's quite a lot, and I think you have to settle down. We keep talking about Kenya at the Olympics. I'm sorry, generally in sports, Kenya is rated as #1 in sports. Why? Because they've won 113 medals, you know, from the Olympic Games, as compared to Nigeria that has won 25 medals over the same period of time, or about the same period of time. Since 9 years of participation at the Olympics, Nigeria has won only 25, and of these 25, a partly 3 gold medal, as compared to Kenya, who is #1 in Africa, you know, that has won 113 medals, and they have 35 gold medals, you know, to show for it. So I think we have to prioritize, and Kenya has done that from only 2 sports, either boxing or the long distance races, and we take part in more than 8 to 10 sports, and yet we have just about 2 gold medals. It's very disappointing. Some people want to say 3 gold medals, but you know that we had the 3rd one by default.
Nigerian leaders should try and understand that sports.
Yeah, because like we said, this is 61 years. If you look at our 61 years participation in sports, you know, as compared to Kenyans, who is #1 in Africa, you know that we have not really maximized our strength. Yeah. If you talk about boxing, we won. Our first 3 medals in, you know, came from boxing, all from boxing. 3. That's way back in 1962 to 1964. That's when we started winning medals. But if you look at it, in the last 25 years, we've never won any medal in boxing. And that should tell you something.
We didn't even have a boxer.
We didn't have yes. And you look at it, like you said, no boxer in the last Olympics. But that is where we should have had our strength. Because at our last time, I think that was 1996, when we had our last medal. I think that was a bronze won by Duncan Dokewari of River State, you know, at the 1996 Olympic Games. Thereafter, no other boxer has come out of Nigeria, you know, to qualify. And like you mentioned, not everyone was in the train that we took to the last Olympic Games. And that's really bad. You have to look at this area to have strength. We have all the Samuel Peter, we have the Anthony Joshua by default, or so to say, you know. But before then, we had Peter Nyegekwachi, we had several other boxers, you know, Isaac Korea and the rest of them. It's our strength, but we have not maximized it. You look at the equipments we have across the country, it makes you really want to think, because where are the equipments? We've won the first medal in wrestling of a private individual's facility. It is the facility of Daniel Igali that was used to train Blessing Oborojudu that made that to win our very first medal.
That's why we should give kudos to Sunday Diary. Sunday Diary has been able to, you know, put things in place and harness talents. You know, I would always say to our leaders here in Nigeria, mostly those of us, or those of them rather, who are the arm of affairs vis-a-vis sports, let them try to emulate at least countries like Brazil, because these are countries that are as talented as Nigeria. I played professional football in this country, and I could tell you that we've got talent here in Nigeria. You know, Brazil, they've been able to harness the talents. They've grown their leagues, you know, from the amateur leagues to the professional leagues, and it's impacting positively on their economy. So we could actually do the same here in our country, Nigeria. Let's go straight now to tennis, where Andy Murray, Kim Clijsters, Emma Raducanu, all, you know, received the Indian wild cards, except Sabalenka. We're going to talk about her and the COVID-19. Mr. Suri.
Well, talking about wild cards are, do I say, tickets given to tennis players, you know, to participate in a tournament where they did not qualify. But because that ticket is given to them because of their past performances, and that's the only way you can now take part in the tournament you did not qualify. And talking about Emma Raducanu, a player who jumped from 336 ranked player to 22 in the world within a very short period of time, or within just one tournament. That's a phenomenal rise, and I think that's what was considered by the organizers of the Indian World, because she wasn't qualified to be part of it. And of course, Kim Clijsters. Kim Clijsters, a former Grand Slam winner, and of course, he had injury concerns, and she's trying to come back to tennis. So, because of her past performances, she's giving, the same thing with Andy Murray as well. So that's the only way. You need to tap them, and it's often very nice when you see someone who became a wild card, and if you're not careful, the person wins the tournament. Then those who qualify for it will wonder, "Wow, how did it happen?" Yeah. We've seen that happen before in tennis. So I think Emma Raducanu is somebody to watch. Like we talked about her last time. She booked her ticket at the end of her qualifier. She needed to play 3 qualifiers for the US Open. Then she would just go home, but she did not only win the qualifiers all of the 3. She went on to win the US Open, and those who had originally qualified for the US Open now begin to wonder, well, how did it happen? So
it's just like Sheriff Tiraspol, winning all their games.
Yeah, in the qualifiers, and then also continue like that.
Exactly, and we've got. Sorry, I'm deviating to football now. I can't.
You have time for football. Let's go.
Yeah, no, they won all the qualifiers. It got me. It caught my attention when you talked about winning the whole qualifiers. It's always very, amazing when you see a team or a person, performing this way.
Well, when you win the qualifiers, of course, nobody expects you. When you go through the qualifiers, you're not one of the top ranked teams.
At all.
Like in the case of Emma Raducanu. But one thing winning the qualifiers does, it helps you build momentum. So you're starting the main draw better than...
Let me explain it to him. You are properly conditioned.
Conditioned!
Certainly you're properly conditioned for
exactly.
But for the wild cards, it would be nice to see Emma Raducanu at the Indian Wells. Of course, outside the Grand Slams, the Indian Wells is one of the most prestigious events on the WTA and the ATP calendar. So it would be nice to see. I refer to her as the most prestigious name in female tennis in 2021 because, of course, nobody achieved what she did. In the history of tennis, nobody has gotten as many points from a single Grand Slam event as Emma Raducanu.
2,040 points.
2,040 points. The highest anybody has ever gotten before was 2,000 points, which is
that's massive.
2,040 points. So
let's talk a little bit about Sabalenka, and her COVID-19 ish, Mr. Cyril.
Well, COVID-19 is for those who believe in it, and they sometimes contract it. It's unfortunate that she's had to contract it, and she will be out of this tournament. But like you and I know, there's an easy cure for it.
The communion.
That's it.
My grandma, before she passed, back then, she would always say, what you don't know is bigger than you.
Yeah, that's
why Papa, our father in the house, David Ibiome, always tells us and admonishes us to go for knowledge. So
imagine if she was taking communion every day.
She would have been immune.
Yeah, exactly.
To their COVID-19.
She would have avoided such a huge absence.
I don't even know if there's anything like COVID-19.
It's because of your belief.
Yeah. And the knowledge we're talking about, it's not expensive.
It's not.
So it's not expensive. It's always there every week. Thursdays, every week.
Even in God's word, Christ, said it, come unto me.
Sometimes when you talk about the communion, people think that it's one special, maybe preparation elsewhere. The communion could be anything. Could be water. It could be bread, biscuits,
fruit juice,
whatever you have by you.
Your biscuits, your snack.
Yeah.
It's just the faith you attach to it.
That's it.
Wow. The Bible says, those of them who the word of God didn't profit, it was as a result of the fact that they didn't mix it up with faith. So just have some faith and then log online, come online and go to Facebook, www.smetros.org, and you'd worship with Salvation Ministries, and then you get information, pertinent information with regards to your health, as a matter of fact. And so you wouldn't know anything that has to do with COVID-19. You'll be immune to any kind of sickness. All right, let's go straight now. It's sports we're talking. We're not preaching, Mr. Cyril. Now, let's go straight to football, and we'll begin with, on a local scene here, the Nigeria Professional Football League. Mr. Cyril, I want us to probe something. I was talking to you backstage. I'd like for my producer to put on the MPFL Team of the Year, the Team of the Season. There's an image, a graphics I want him to present on screen for us to take a look at, and then we'll later take a look at the list, the number of players invited to the home-based Super Eagles. Thank you so much, the man in the console. Good news. Now, Mr. Cyril, these players here, if you take a look at the number of players invited to the home-based Super Eagles, there are some players here that are not there. Meanwhile, in my opinion, Merit, everybody here, because the number of players invited to the home-based Super Eagles is supposed to be 23 or thereabout, or 22. Everybody here is supposed to be considered first on the list of invitees to the Super Eagles. Because, for instance, Samson Gbadebo, the centre-back of Aqua United, he finished last season as the best centre-back of the season.
Yeah, but that to me looks like a faulty argument because your present form determines your invitation at the time you were invited to the national team.
The invitation occurred when the league had finished.
Right. What is the form of Gbadebo at this point in time?
He finished best centre back.
Right. And what I'm saying, he finished as best centre back. What is
the league has ended. That's him on screen.
Yeah. What is his state? His physical state at the time?
He is fit now.
One thing I'd like to point out is whenever the season ends, we get to see a lot of this team of the season. Different punters, different pundits and analysts come out with their teams of the season.
This is MPFL.
And I don't think that's MPFL because you can see up there. It's from 2-3-4 football. I don't know whoever is running the 2-3-4 football. So if it's not official, then you cannot use that to justify the inclusion or the exclusion. I know Samson Badebo was fantastic last season. He alongside Olisanda for Aqua United. I think they were central to Aqua United winning that MPFL title last season. But then again, we're talking about the MPFL. We're talking about many players. I think 30 players were initially invited for the camp. It had to be trimmed down to 23 and all of that. What we want to see is good legs. The last time we were at the Chan, we had all these kind of people, the kind of players we clamored for. This guy is the best player for Eimba. This guy is the best player for Nasarawa United. They all went there and then they faltered. They didn't do very well. If this set of players that have been invited for the next Chan tournament go there and then they perform, then we have no cause to point fingers. Well, in the interim, we have to go with what the managers, like he mentioned, the condition of the players, the present state of the players are also vital. We know that we have the coaches for the Chan Eagles. They are not should I say, Coach Gunnar Raw, who likes to do his scouting outside Nigeria. They have a lot of intelligence, a lot of information here. So I think it's on the premise of that.
So you think the national team list, the home-based Super Eagles, they were well informed? It's a well-informed list?
I'm looking at the reasons behind why some players are invited.
Because if a player finishes, see my argument.
Yes.
If a player finishes as the best striker, the best strikers were invited. Just that Ashimene now is no longer in the country.
Yeah, no longer home
Aguda is no longer in the country. Otherwise, we'll have queried, we'll have questioned if they were invited. Now, Silas, the top scorer, was invited. Samson Badebo, the best centre back, wasn't invited. The best left back.
And that's what I'm saying.
What's his name? Evans. For Aqua United, he was with Ifan Yuba. Now he's with Aqua United. I think that's why Aqua United brought him to come and play in the continent. He wasn't invited. That's my argument.
It is simple, like you mentioned.
That's him on screen.
The source of the composition of the team from the MPFL is questionable. One, then two, who is the coach that's inviting these players determines the players that fit his formation that he's going to play.
I think Paulo Aibogun is there.
That's what I'm saying. And what is his knowledge of the local, form of the local players? That is it. Oftentimes I've talked about having a technical department or having a technical director that keeps statistics that informs the invitation of players, for the national team. But it looks like as if most times in Nigeria, invitation to the national team is at the whims and caprices of very few people, and which is wrong. You see, because if a coach comes out to say, look, I want 5 central backs or centre backs for my team, this is the height I want. This is the number of games I want, this level of fitness. So these are issues, these are technical issues that must have been with the technical director, ready for availability to the coach who wants. So the coach, okay, I will be playing very tall central defenders. If you can be the very best central defender, but you don't have his height.
You're so not a good ball playing defender.
So these are some of the things that determine. That's why I said the coach determines who he wants for his team. And that person must meet up certain criteria for him to be invited to the squad. So it's not rocket science. It's not something you find it difficult to disclose.
Exactly.
It's always easy to say, okay, reason A, reason B are the reasons why this person is there and why the other person is not there. But unfortunately here in Nigeria, if you ask a coach the question, he will want to
dodge it. I'll ask you now, Mary, before we go straight to Europe. Now, Evans, Iyabi, or Obunda, or whatever it's called, he's a Port Harcourt breed. He's a young lad. We know him, very young and energetic. We saw him with Ifan Yuba. He assisted last season over 10 assists as a left back. Over 10 assists. And then we can't overemphasize, anymore that of Samson Badebo. Clearly, he finished as the best centre back of the season. So he's supposed to be on that, that list of home-based Super Eagles invites. Now, let's talk about Evans. Now, what do you think could be the reason or the justification for this young man not being invited?
I think I would like to borrow from what Mr. Siri said, technical reasons. And I would also like to give an example. Last time we saw the Three Lions of England play at the Euro 2020, they played without Trent Alexander-Arnold. We knew he was injured before the Euro started, but even before he got injured, when Gareth Southgate released his 23-man list for the Euros, there was no Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's arguably one of the best fullbacks in world football right now. Of course, irreplaceable for Liverpool, gets a lot of goals for them, gets them in good attacking positions. But Gareth Southgate's argument was that he does very well, talking about Arnold, does very well offensively, but when it comes to one-on-one defending, he's very suspect. He's not very good at it. And that's why Southgate left him out of the team. So if you go by assists, he has a lot of assists. He even scores goals, scores good free kicks. But then the coach, the manager, didn't go with him. And it didn't prove out to be a bad decision because they went all the way to the finals and only lost on penalties to Italy. So I think that could also be the case why Evans has not been invited. I am just saying, of course, right. Like he said, we don't have these information. Like I just mentioned Gareth Southgate. We only knew about it because he came to the press and then he said it.
Yeah.
But back here, I think it's a big secret. It's not supposed to be a secret, but it's a big secret. You don't get to know the reasons behind these decisions, but we just take it as we see it.
I just want to argue a little further. Mr. Siri, you have been in football management for God knows how long now, and I tested a little bit of, same professional football. I want us to take a look at this. Now, in a team, when you're invited, I've been a national team invitee. I know it's over 23 players, first of all, and then you start looking at them. If you invite, the reason why the invites you have 23 is so we could have at least 2 players in one position. So you want to tell me that they couldn't accommodate these guys? At least, let's see you have finished as the best in last season's league. Let's see you as the national team. Not like Balibo hasn't been invited once. He's been in the chant squad before. It's not new to him. But couldn't they have accommodated these guys? Because you finished as the best. It was MPFL now that awarded them. You are the best.
Who is the coach of the team?
Aibogun is there. Paul Aibogun, then Eguavon, I think. Is amongst.
That's what I'm saying. How often do Aibogun follow the Nigerian league?
So why was he appointed?
We are almost saying the same thing. He's not very used to the league. It depends on 1 or 2 persons to give information about the league.
That's my question now. Who is giving the information about the league?
We don't know.
We don't know, but we are supposed to know. But they keep it as a very big secret. That's wrong.
It's wrong because if the league, let us shut down this league. I've always said it. Because I don't want to drag us a little further, but this is a sports show and our viewers, I think you're enjoying this right now because we're trying to point out facts. We saw a couple of years ago where Fred finished as top scorer in the Brazilian Serie A, and they insisted that look, Bebeto, you're going to allow this guy to play as top 9 in the World Cup for us, starting man lineup. Do you understand why? Because we value our league, and he finished as the top scorer. So if we cannot have our top scorer in the MPFL, make the main Super Eagles, not home-based Super Eagles, the main Super Eagles list, 23-man list. Let's shut down this league.
Talking about the Super Eagles list where the media...
Because Silas scored, I think, 24 goals or 23 goals in the MPFL.
Yeah, he scored 19 goals last season in the MPFL.
Okay, Silas. No, Silas
tied with Charles Achimene.
Charles was 22. I think they crossed 19.
No?
It's 19 goals.
Under 20 goals.
Last count was 19 goals.
Okay, whatever. If Ahmed Musa, before he traveled to Europe, it was I think 18 goals about in
We're talking about the Super Eagles.
Bring these guys to the Super Eagles.
We're talking about Super Eagles where journalists and the media
expose our league.
Have to clamor.
Promote the league. Promote these players. Give them a platform.
Talking about the Super Eagles where we have to clamor for Paul Onuachu that scored 35 goals in Europe.
Onuachu is playing in Genk.
No, I'm saying you can't. Whatever. When I explain is
Nigerian league is stronger than, is hotter than the
It's not. When you look at the rankings or the leagues,
you just said something here. The number of goals.
All right, now let's go straight to Europe.
At least you should be invited and let him test his skills. If he's not good enough,
yeah, let him. Yeah, there were times he gave opportunity to Gambo and the rest of them. I think we should keep doing that. That's why we're playing.
Yeah, but like I said, it's wrong for such a player to be shut out. You give him an opportunity and let him, take it or leave it. It's faulty. Our scouting system here in Nigeria is very faulty, and I keep saying it often. When I have the opportunity at different fora, that scouting is the biggest part of the job. It's not coming to knock the ball and all of that. That scouting is it. To a large extent, you can see what Genero is doing. Genero has some quality scouts that are going around looking for the players. Not they have basics why they are looking for it. If you meet it, they will invite you and test you out. We need more of that in the local league here. In the local league here, we are dependent on the whims and caprices of one or two persons. That is not enough.
Yeah.
Nigeria is a very big country. I have traveled around this country following football, week in, week out, and it's really massive. So you need to have, zonal scouts give you information, invite the players once in a while, check out what those scouts are doing, whether it's the right thing or not.
Question them.
So, but
query.
We don't do. We just. I can tell you one or two persons sits back in the football house in Abuja and say, okay, well, who is in Eyimba? Who is in Rivers United?
And then the player tells you, I don't want to stay on TV. The player tells you, I don't want to go to Rivers United, I want to go to Imba because I have an opportunity to go to the national team. Not because I played well in wherever I am.
It's the politics.
So it's
yes, we have to really do something. This is 61 years of 61 years.
61 years. I don't want to keep remembering about
yes.
that one.
No.
Let's keep living our lives and serving our God. Forget about years or no years. Straight to Europe once we come back from this break. My name is Prince Wally, your chief servant. Do stay tuned.
You are a product of how you think, and to think right, you need the right information. The Word of Life Bible Institute, WOLBI, is a 2-week intensive program known to teach men and women to think in line with God's Word. And now you can be a part of the ever-growing community of Kingdom Giants by registering for our online courses from anywhere in the world. To register, please follow these steps. Step 1. Visit www.smhos.org/WOLBI and click on the register button located at the middle of the page. Step 2. Click on Basic Certificate Course. Step 3. Click on View CAT and proceed to checkout. Step 4. Fill in your details and choose a payment option. Step 5. Confirm payment. Step 6. Start learning. Easy, right? For more information, please visit www.smhos.org/WOLBI.
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Prince Wally, your chief servant, and we're going straight to Europe, where we talk about the Europe's top leagues. The French league is now a top league because Lionel Messi is there now.
Oh yes.
All right, we'll begin with the Spanish La Liga. The result number 1 should be on screen as we take a look at it. The Spanish La Liga result number 1 should be on screen in just a bit. And Mr. Suri, lots of surprises. Last weekend in the various leagues in Europe, we had clubs like Real Madrid losing games, PSG losing games, Benfica losing games. But well, let's just see the results of the Spanish La Liga, the result number 1 on screen.
Well, I think just before we get at the result, it was one weekend where a lot happened. You mentioned Real Madrid in Spain not getting it right.
All right, is there?
And you wonder what has happened to them. They just came back from the Champions League where maybe you will have thought that, okay, there was a blip, but in this instance, it was not just that. They were beaten, and yes, it was an away goal. They had a chance of taking their opponent, but they just didn't. And I think...
okay, while he's talking, let's see result number 2.
They still remain, on top, but Espanyol is not a team that should have stopped Real Madrid from getting all of the 3 points. But what can I say? Benzema tried his best. He scored that goal in the 71st minute, and the team couldn't get at least a point from that rehearsal stadium in Espanyol. I'm very sure that Real Madrid will bounce back. They have a long break now to really examine. According to the coach, they will have to examine what has gone wrong with the team. For the first time, the team didn't.
All right, let's see the
well.
standings. Let's see the standings of the La Liga. All right, Real Madrid still sitting on top. Atletico Madrid beating Barcelona. Let me come to Merit now. Merit, do you think it's over for Barcelona?
Not over for FC Barcelona. They still have 30 more games to play in the Spanish La Liga. So I think 31 more
Where
games.
are they
in the
on
Spanish
the
La Liga.
log?
Number 9 on the table. So
9 on the log.
It's not over for them. They have to play all the 38 games, and then we'll know where they finish.
I'm really worried about Barcelona. We saw the Laporta come out to say, well, he's standing by Ronald Koeman. And then that same weekend where he declared he's standing by Ronald Koeman in the local palace fall hand because he lost heavily, again. And it looks like his position in the squad will continuously be re-examined in spite of all of this assurance, because you don't lose, recklessly like that.
Yeah.
As many as 3 goals. That's
Let's go straight.
I think Laporta's statement was more of a, should I say, political statement, because we already know we already knew coming into the club. He already talked about how is this pleasure at having Ronald Koeman there, and the results certainly not helping Ronald Koeman. Lost to SL Benfica 3-0 in the Champions League. Following that up with the 2-0.
They were 1 man down. Even though the goals were scored before the red card came.
Losing by 2-0 to Atletico Madrid and having Luis Suarez score against FC Barcelona, I think it would anger a lot of Barcelona supporters, and I think he's working a thin line now, Ronald Koeman. It's just a matter of days before he gets.
All right, viewers, tell us, do you think it's over for Barcelona Football Club of Spain? The number is already on screen. Just tell us what you think via WhatsApp. Some might think that it's over for them because they lost the world best player in the person of Lionel Messi. Some will think that it's not over for them. After all, the league is still young. Tell us what you think. Thanks so much. Before that result there,
the issue about Barcelona, it looks pathetic. Who is taking away all the points from Barcelona? Luis Suarez?
Yeah.
Luis Suarez. This is man, when this same Koeman, the coach, called him on phone to say, look, we don't need your services anymore. And if you watch when the Koeman scored that goal against Barcelona, Suarez, he put his hands to say,
you called me.
You called me.
To terminate my contract.
Wow. It was disrespectful. Ronald Koeman has been culprit of treating his players with disrespect. We knew of Luis Suarez, and then we heard about Trincao before leaving the club, and then also Emerson before leaving to Tottenham Hotspurs this season. Also Miralem Pjanic before leaving also complained about the same thing, not being treated fairly by.
They are leaving him alone to do the job
manager.
now.
And I think he's going to receive the same treatment at the end of the day from the Barcelona board.
Whatever you sow, you reap.
Certainly.
That's what God's word states.
But it's unfortunate that Koeman have poor, player management. He's had issues like this even when he was with the national team of Netherlands. So I think he really has to work on this player management. He's suspect.
Yeah, it's a suspect. Let's take a look at the German Bundesliga result number 1. It should be on screen in just a bit. Surprisingly, Eintracht Frankfurt went over there to... okay, let's take a look at Borussia Dortmund looking good. They beat Wolfsburg. They came from a goal down. And they won that particular one. Which other shocking results? Okay, RB Leipzig picking from again now.
One shocking result, I think, on the screen here: VfL Wolfsburg losing at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah,
it was something I didn't see happening. Of course,
who can remember Mbolo, the Switzerland black striker?
Of course,
this guy is doing well.
For Borussia
he reminds me of Victor Osimhen.
And Wolfsburg before now, they hadn't lost any game in the German Bundesliga.
Exactly.
So to see Borussia Mönchengladbach, who had been struggling since the start of the season, only just won Dortmund the other weekend, now coming to win 3-1 at Wolfsburg, it was quite a shocking result. Of course, before the biggest shocker for the weekend.
Thank you so much for putting result number 2. Bayern Munich losing at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. I was shocked.
Yeah, everybody around the world was very shocked. If you look at it, Bayern Munich in that Allianz Arena has not lost in 30 matches. They've not lost in 30 matches, and all of this is taking 21 years when... So for Eintracht Frankfurt going to that stadium to beat Bayern Munich, it has never happened in 21 years. This is the first time in 21 years we've seen Eintracht Frankfurt take all 3 points from the Allianz.
Let's see the standings now. Bayern Munich looking good still, 16 points, and it's tight this season. I love this.
That's in that 31 years. 21 years. We had the likes of Lingbrand Haaland born. He's now playing in the German Bundesliga. He's now scored over 80 goals professionally. So it's taken a long time since Eintracht Frankfurt last won. And look at the table. Eintracht Frankfurt are currently in 13th place. So not the team that you would expect to pose any threat whatsoever to Bayern Munich. But at the end of the day, it was that goal from
some reality check.
Yeah, a very big reality check.
Borussia, Bayer Leverkusen looking good.
Certainly, second best team in the German Bundesliga, and only by goals. They've scored 20 goals so far. Of course, Bayern Munich scored just 4 goals more than Bayer Leverkusen. That's the only reason why they're second. And they lost a couple of good players at the start of the season. Leon Bailey left the club for what was it called, Aston Villa, or some other high-profile departures. And we thought maybe they were going to suffer, but so far so good. They've been doing well. Tie on 16 points with Bayern Munich, and the top of the table looking very exciting. We hope that it's competitive.
What's Freiburg doing at the 4th position?
Freiburg, yeah, one of the
I'm
biggest
shocked. These guys,
this
they need to win games,
Yeah, Freiburg. they got that win against Borussia Dortmund. That's when I started taking them seriously, and they've beaten any other team that matches their strength. And the only team in the German Bundesliga yet to lose a game. They've not lost.
There's one team. There's one team that's 7th place there. Union Berlin. Many times the Nigerian striker.
We're going to talk about, when we're talking about our Super Eagles strikers, we're going to talk about Awuni. He's been doing so good. Now let's go straight to the French Ligue 1. Result number 1 of the French Ligue 1. Shocking results as well, though. Teams like Monaco that did well last season and didn't start well this season, they have started winning games. Back to winning ways for teams like Monaco and Lyon. Did Lyon win over the weekend?
Yeah, Monaco. Let me start with Monaco. I think they're starting to pick up the pace, like you mentioned.
The French Ligue 1, result number 1 of the French Ligue 1.
When the season started, Monaco were out of sorts, especially even in qualifying for Champions League where they lost out, had to settle for the lesser competitions. But then we're starting to see them pick games.
Nice, looking so good, still.
Of course, under the manager or Clement Grenier, who won the league last season
and left Lille.
He's
to play the Champions League by themselves.
He's trying to replicate the same thing for Nice, and he's not done very badly since the start of the season. Of course, you expect them to pick up points.
Can we talk a little bit about Stade Rennes, Mr. Siri? Over to you now. Beating Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, I think this is one result nobody expected.
Not at all.
Going with the fact that we've seen Paris Saint-Germain win all of their 8 games, and there was a Lionel Messi on the team list, there's the Neymar Jr. on the team list, and Mbappe on the team list. And the shocking thing is that of all of the 3 of them, 3 known world strikers, no shot was in front of goal. It was.
I saw that stat. No shots on target.
On target. You wonder what happened.
Mbappe, Neymar,
all of the 90.
Even Di Maria was inclusive.
All of them in all of the 90 minutes plus, they didn't have one shot on target.
Wow.
It's really shocking.
Okay, Merit, over to you now. And Jas and Lily, back to winning ways, continuing.
Yeah, Leo, I think they really need to pick up the pace. Of course, they are defending champions and they need to play like defending champions.
A lot expected of them.
It's even more impressive that they won against Marseille. Before the previous weekend, Marseille had not lost a game in the Ligue 1. They lost that weekend 3-2 against Metz, and now they're losing again against Lille. So maybe it's time for them. Of course, managers in this kind of position.
Let's take a look at the standings now.
We'll be glad for this 2-week international break because they have a lot of time now to tinker about with the team and find out what's wrong with the team. But so far, so good. Some teams continue to impress. Lens continue to impress.
Yeah, and Lens and Nice closing up on Paris.
Yeah, certainly.
Look at Angers. Where are they coming from?
Wow.
Number 4 on the list.
Wow.
The Angers.
At a point, in Jazz, they lost the game, at home to one of the teams that are not so expressional, but they are back to winning ways.
How about Clermont Foot? Clermont Foot, they were second on the table at some point. Now they are beginning
to. The boys are being separated from the men.
It's like gravity is drawing them closer and closer.
Yeah, that's what you see sometimes when you see teams like Bournemouth starting well, Everton starting well, and then later they drift back. But Marseille still showing character alongside Monaco. Lille climbing up. Before you know what's happening, they've drawn down Lorient a little bit and then climb on top of them. That's how you punch that sometimes.
It's very competitive from, you can see from number 6 to number 9, I think to number 10, it's just 1 point difference. So it's really close. Anybody who drops points, drops down.
Seriously. Okay, let's go straight now to the Italian Serie A result number 1. Italian Serie A, for time's sake, let's see if we can rush this up. Italian Serie A result number 1. AC Milan still winning games. It's irrespective of the opponent.
Well, AC Milan have a lot of pedigree in Italian football. You expect them to win both home and away. And we've seen that this season they are capable of getting results. Whether they will maintain it.
Milan getting the first win of the season.
Oh yeah, Salernitana first win of the season. When I saw that, I think I was joyed. I had some sort of happiness for Salernitana. They had not won a single game since coming to the Italian Serie A, and it was nice to see them win by 1-0. Of course, Simi Wanko playing his part in that game before being substituted for Salernitana.
Juventus continuing in their winning ways.
Oh yeah, Locatelli has shown why he's one of the top scorers in the Italian.
Locatelli from Sassuolo.
Yeah, from Sassuolo. Yes.
I enjoyed him in the Euro.
Exactly. I was going to talk about his performance in the Euro. He's put it out into.
Exactly.
It was because of that performance that he was brought into Juventus, and he's shown his class. I often like it when you are picked for a particular reason and you show it exactly when it matters.
That's consistency.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because when a team struggles, especially this is a derby game, Torino versus Juventus, very close, tight fixture, and you are able to make the difference. It's always sharing.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Inter Milan. They did so well, and then where are they on the log? Third position, Napoli.
The same issue with Inter Milan. You know, when Romelu Lukaku left, you would think that, oh, well,
the team was depleted.
But they brought in Dzeko, and Dzeko is showing week in, week out why he was brought into the squad.
Exactly.
And that's beautiful.
Roberto Martinez, Dzeko, Kalhanoglu, Brozovic, they are all doing so well for Inter Milan. And then Napoli have refused to lose games.
The only unbeaten team in the top 5 leagues in Europe. 7 games, 7 wins. 100% record keeps going. And what's delightful is to see Victor Osimhen also still very central to.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him in just a bit, but let's talk a little bit about AC Milan. They beat Atalanta away from home. Big
results away from home, and to score in a, I think, 5-goal thriller, 3-2 win over Atalanta. It was a big result, no less. And AC Milan, they are trying to, should I say, strengthen their credentials as one of the contenders for the Serie A this season. And we have a lot of them, because you can't rule out Napoli, 100% record. You can't rule out defending champions Inter Milan. They're doing very well. And of course, AS Roma has the knowledge and the expertise of Jose Mourinho. So it's going to be really interesting and exciting to see where it falls in this season in the Italian season.
The entire, the entire leagues, top 4 leagues in Europe, the results are closed and the points are closed on the log. And I like the fact that there's this competition there. No league is the Farmers League anymore in Europe. For time's sake, no Farmers League anymore.
French Ligue 1, I think.
French Ligue 1?
Yeah, PSG still
has
they
just lost 2 reigns.
6 points difference between first and
6
second.
points. It used to be 14 points.
It was
20-something points.
we haven't gotten there yet. Maybe by
it's in mid-season. Yeah, we'll see what pans out. Okay, for time's sake, let's go straight to the EPL, the English Premier League, the Egedege League. Let's go there now. Result number 1 of the EPL. Okay. Manchester United drawing at home to Everton. I don't want us to dwell a lot on that particular one. Let's talk a little bit about... okay, let's go to result number 2 for time's sake. You would want us to talk about a little bit about Chelsea, but let's leave that.
No, not really. It's 3-1 against Southampton.
It's
a routine victory. Nothing
exactly, routine.
I
like that, routine victory. Let's talk a little bit about Leicester City. What is going on with this team, Mr. Cyril?
Leicester City.
They haven't been winning games. They drew at home to Napoli in the Europa League. They lost away from home to Liga Warsaw over there in Poland. And then they're back in the league now, and they've drawn again to Crystal Palace. They were even losing at some point.
Leicester City has demonstrated in the last 2 seasons that they're a flash in the pan. We thought they had come to stay, but there's still Jimmy Vardy there. There's, of course, Kelechi getting the goals, even when the 2 of them were on the pitch. But I think it has to do with the selection from the coach, and I'm very sure that maybe in the days ahead, they will to find out the exact combination of players that can make the team. It's not a very bad team, but I think the coach keeps tinkering with the squad list for game, week in, week out, and I think that is affecting them. But again, Crystal Palace, has shown that yes, they were 2 goals down, and to come back to equalize 2-2 shows the quality of the coach of the side.
All right, before we talk about Liverpool and Manchester City, let's talk a little bit about the West Ham game against... go back to the result, please. Let's talk about West Ham versus Brentford. Brentford, a decent side. Is there any match these guys will play without scoring a goal, at least?
Well, there's the beauty about Brentford is the fact that this is a team who has not played Premier League football in all of 74 years. This is the first time they are coming to play Premier League football. But you see them play without respect for whichever opposition.
They don't respect anyone.
They just play, and they could be 4 goals down, but they continue at the same intensity and pace. And by the time you know it, they could be even at 4-4 with you. So I think it's the quality of the training they've gotten from the championship. If you watch the championship, you know that it's a very, very,
very difficult league.
And they continue with that, tempo,
that condition,
that conditioning. Yes, and I think that's why they get result at the end of the day. I want to think that West Ham will have learned a lesson on how to maintain pace. They sometimes you see in the Premiership, a team plays the first 15 minutes. Worst case scenario, you said it was a game of 2 halves.
Yeah.
But for a team that is coming from the Championship, it's a game of 90 minutes.
90 minutes,
yes,
certainly.
Yes,
they never lose confidence, like he was mentioning, especially against Liverpool, where they were, I think, 3-2 down, and towards the end of the game, they were still plugging away. And that man, Jan Wissa, is starting to look like a super sub, because he came off the bench against Liverpool and scored the equalizing goal, came off the bench against West Ham United, scored the winning goal in the 94th minute. A team that has no respect for the opponents and 100% confidence in their own abilities.
All right, staying on with you now, Merit. Let's talk about Manchester City, Liverpool versus Manchester City. This game lived up to expectations.
Certainly,
right?
a game that did not disappoint. A game that did not disappoint by any means. It was a game of two halves. Manchester City controlling proceedings, Liverpool coming back in the second half playing better. But surprisingly, we saw all 4 goals in the second period, and Liverpool opened the scoring. And in there, the second goal for Liverpool was, should I say, a historic one. Mohamed Salah scoring a very individual solo effort, taking him closer to the record for most goals by an African player in Premier League history. I think he's on 103 goals now.
Yeah, just one more.
Drogba had 104,
right.
and I think that Drogba record will be well beaten before the end of the season.
Definitely.
Well, my issue about this game between Liverpool, we saw, last night, and Manchester City is that it is one of the best games. What I say, one of the best advertisement for Premier League football, in England.
True.
And by the end of Thursday, I'll be able to confidently come out to tell you the bias of the English press about African players. Because if what Mohamed Salah played in course of that 90 minutes, and what we saw is anything, then there should be a lot of accolades for Mohamed Salah in what he did in that game. In scoring goals under very tight situation.
Oh yeah.
If it was an English player that scored from,
Maybe a
They would have
Jack
blown it out
God.
of proportion. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm following them up till Thursday. I will know what the English press is all about.
True.
Because the goal scored, the assist and the goal, fantastic goals.
Fantastic.
Which to me, if it had been an English player, you would see it for at least a decade.
Yeah, true. We know them. We've been following this thing for quite a while. We know how it happens.
Mohamed Salah, no. He was
All right, we're going
fantastic
straight
in this
now
game.
to Europe, and with regards to Super Eagles players over there and how they fared over the weekend. We are beginning with Awoni Taiwo, whose club, Union Berlin, 7th on the log now. He's with him scoring a brace yesterday.
Wonderful performance coming from Awoni, 2 goals in the match, and you couldn't have asked for more. These 2 goals will further reinforce the belief in the national team handler, why they have called him into the squad. They will tell you now, okay, if you play well, no matter when you will be invited to the national team, this is a demonstration of the fact that he's done so well. Berlin, he's played for this squad. Talking about Taiwo Awoni, is one man I wanted to think that Liverpool almost killed his career. But
I'm telling you.
like we talked about it, you need to change your agent.
Yes.
Let him give you the proper advice. We've seen him now. He's moved permanently out of that contract with Liverpool to Union Berlin, and he shows that he's settled now to getting the business done, and he's getting to go week in, week out. We just hope that he will translate his form to the national team, because there are a lot of people in the national team who are just maybe waiting for him to fail because of the impression they've had
Exactly.
about
To justify their
And you see what's going to
exclusion,
happen. He's being invited to the Super Eagles. We're going to make him get a good contract, maybe in England, for a bigger pay.
He deserves a good contract. I think only 3 players have scored more goals than Awoni at the current Bundesliga season.
I'm going to see him in the game here in Nigeria, the qualifier game, and I'm going to remind him of something.
And when you look at the top goal scorer chart in the German Bundesliga now, you expect to see Erling Braut Haaland there.
Yeah.
You expect to see Robert Lewandowski there.
Sure.
But then the name that follows in 4th place is Taiwo when he has 5 goals in the current campaign. Robert Lewandowski and Erling Braut Haaland tied on 7 goals apiece. So he tells you that he's doing very well. He certainly deserves a better contract and a better
Certainly.
club.
Let's talk about Wilfred Ndidi, who recently is out now, injured. Mr. Siri, I just don't like injuries because I know what injury did to me when I was playing.
Really, really sad that one of the best midfielders in the world right now is injured and out of the game. And he's a young player, so I believe he will bounce back quickly.
True. He's going to bounce back quickly. Let me come to you now with Samuel Chukwueze. Samuel Chukwueze is he's my friend on Facebook, so I'm going to convey a message to him, a congratulatory message, because he's back on his feet right now. Welcome back, Samuel Chukwueze.
Back on his feet and back to much to the delight of supporters of Nigerian football, fans of the Villarreal team, of course, the manager of the side as well. He is one of the most prolific players for the Yellow Submarines, that's for Villarreal. Picked up this injury 5 months ago in the semi-finals of the UEFA Europa League against Arsenal. And unfortunately, he hadn't been able to recover just up till now. He's started training with the team, started doing some light workouts. And I think in the near future, I think maybe after the international break, we should see Samuel Chukwueze in action for Villarreal, and it would be quite a delight for the team and as well as all the supporters.
Mr. Suyu.
I feel for him because he's just too injury prone. He has to change maybe the way he plays. You see him take on players, particularly, he teases the ball and it allows the
and some defenders don't smile at you doing
smile
that.
at you at all.
All right, Chukwueze, Samuel, we are so excited here at Salvation TV Sports Bleep family. We're happy that you're back on your feet, and we hope that you start scoring those goals and assisting those goals as well. Dribbling those defenders in the La Liga. I like the way you dribble them. I like the way he
takes you on.
Yeah, I like the way you deal
no
with
respect,
speaking.
no respect whatsoever.
Who are you?
Barcelona or Real Madrid.
I like the way you dazzle Ramos, though he's no longer there with you. I like the way you dazzle Piqué. That one is your wife already. You married him.
That's why he's often on an injury list.
They always try to kick him because he deals with them. Welcome back and congratulations, a big one. All right, let's go straight now. The last but not the least, Victor Osimhen of Napoli. This guy is the beast up front.
We've often talked about Victor Osimhen here, especially from last season when he had to change his agent. He got a big job. Unfortunately, he really didn't justify that nearly 90 million pounds transfer. But after he came back, he had COVID issues. After the COVID, now he's beginning to get the job done. And that's, like I keep saying, if a lot of confidence repose in you, you must justify it. And he's doing just that at the beginning of this season. I think he has about 8 goals now or thereabout. Yeah. And that's the quality.
Scoring in the Europa League, scoring in the Serie A as well.
He's a true and true goal puncher. We've seen what Cristiano Ronaldo is doing in Manchester United. You are at the right place at the right time. And that's what you can find with Victor Osimhen. Be a striker that knows where the goal will be, knows when the goalkeeper will spill the ball, knows when the defender will miss with the stopping of the ball. So, and he gets off that. You don't need to overwork yourself. Be at the right place at the right time, and you just get the goals. And that's what Victor Osimhen is doing this season.
Yeah, merit.
Certainly, Victor Osimhen. I'm just glad that the season has taken a new turn for Victor Osimhen. When the season started, it didn't start on a very good note for Victor Osimhen. Of course, he got that red card, and then there were question marks. Napoli have some formidable strikers. Lorenzo Insigne in the team, a couple of other good strikers in the team.
Those are homeboys.
Well. Yeah, and homeboys at that. People that have played longer for the club than Victor Osimhen, who just recently joined them last season. So it was a big question if he was going to go back straight into the manager's plan. But thankfully, Luciano Spalletti, the manager of the side, was able to keep faith in Victor Osimhen, put him into the side immediately. He got back from suspension, and his faith was rightly repaid by Victor Osimhen.
It's not often when another coach gets you into the team and
a new coach
sticks with you, and it's like ready to be very patient with you. Some will use the opportunity to put you back and maybe bring his own player as well. So I think Spalletti has done so well for Victor Osimhen, and Victor Osimhen should pay back the confidence the coaches, a new coach.
Very important, payback. That's the best way to pay back, by scoring those goals, because that's your primary assignment as a striker. Before we leave the studio, before we listen to the Sports Bleep record of the night, we have one of our viewers from just Plateau State that sent a message to us on WhatsApp. I think he's a Chelsea fan talking about the game that Chelsea lost to Manchester City. Say, we hope we bounce back from the lose, but whoever loses lost 1-0 to Manchester City right now is doing well, considering the form that Manchester City. And I say Godson from Plateau State, Jaws. All right, you guys are back to winning ways already. You won the game against Southampton, 3-1. So it's a big up to you all. I think the number should be on screen just a bit right now, so that you tell us what you think. I asked the question earlier about Barcelona. Do you think that Barcelona, it's over for them this season? Or you think they're going to be relegated? You think do you think it's over for Barcelona? Send your messages on WhatsApp. ASAP. All right, Mr. Cyril, Sports Bleep record of the night.
Well, in the last couple of hours here in Nigeria, we've been talking about Nigeria's 61 years of independence anniversary, and a lot of people have been looking at sports development generally. And we follow football so much in Nigeria here, and between 1960 to date, we've had the national team's name change from the Red Devils to the Green Eagles and now to the Super Eagles. But most people do not know the very first goal scorer for the national football team of Nigeria, in over all of these 61 years, so to say. I'm very sure that most people don't know that there was a certain Ekpe Asuko who scored the very first goal at the National Stadium in Lagos. Just moments after the after the Independence Day, way back in 1960, in fact, on the 2nd of October 1960, he scored against the Portuguese Guinea.
I wasn't born then. Let it where you.
Present day, because they changed from Portuguese Guinea to Guinea-Bissau, that match ended 4-1, and he scored the very first goal for Nigeria at the National Stadium in Lagos way back in 1960. He was the very first goal scorer, international goal scorer for Nigeria via the independence. And I think till date, a lot of people still don't know him. He's late, but on occasions like this, we should remember heroes that made Nigeria proud way back when you were not born.
True. When I was not born, big ups to him. I mean, I'm almost emotional right now. I mean, we don't get to value people like this.
We really don't.
It's sad.
He was talking about the Duncan Dokewari. I think he also mentioned the Morgan Kidbasi and all of that.
Yeah.
Many of the people following sports today in Nigeria do not know about these people, and they do not know about them because we don't get to give them the proper honor that they deserve. When you play football or you engage in sports for countries, maybe like say for the United Kingdom, for England, once you represent the national team in England, you have that honor for the rest of your life, even after you die. You get talked about all the time, and you get taken care of. They take care of your welfare. But here, everything is just left to chance.
That's why I have a friend and a former teammate. His name is Kennedy Chinwon. We played during our retirement, days in football.
You retired so early.
Yeah, I did actually. We were in Dolphin Football Club of Port Harcourt together, the present day Rivers United, and he played as far as Sheriff Tiraspol. He played for the Flying Eagles of Nigeria during the set where Mikel Obi almost tied MVP with Messi.
I can see him vividly on the right side of the defense line.
Yeah, he was an amazing player, the only Niger Delta footballer that had twice handshake with the FIFA president. It's phenomenal. That's why I get to celebrate him all the time. Whenever I see him, I call him World Cup player. I was in Flying Eagles as well, but I didn't make it to the final list. But he did, and he played as far as he went to Moldova, played for Sheriff Tiraspol, that beat Real Madrid now. And
I'm just like you mentioned his name now. I can see his move from the right fullback, joining the attack.
Those long shots.
And those long shots, those switches of him, man. It's quite.
Before he later went to Eimba, and then he made a good name for himself, and I think guys like this, men like this, should be remembered and celebrated in our society. But we don't get to do that all the time. We see in Europe, we see before a game in the English Premier League, you see banners, you see them celebrating their
Hall of Famers. These people should have position in the Hall of Fame. Last year they did what was call it 61 icons in the sports, and surprisingly, we were shocked that there were some key names that were left out. There was one lady that was left out of that squad, Ruth Ugbefo. She actually was the very first winner for weightlifting for Nigeria, and her name was put off. And somehow she won silver in that Olympic Games, and what could be called the golden silver because she tied with the lady from Ukraine or where, and it was because she was on the heavier weight in that fight. That's why she had silver. The opponent that had the gold was on a lighter weight into the fight. If not, they tied, and it's commonly called the golden silver. And such an athlete should be forgotten over the years. This is the very first medal in weightlifting we had in this country.
We shouldn't be doing things just because of money.
No,
we should think about legacy. I mean, we are here on Salvation TV because of legacy, not necessarily because of money.
Wow.
The thing is, most of the time, the organizers, should I say, administrators, do not even keep proper records of these events.
Exactly.
They don't even have proper records of this event. They have to be reminded by journalists.
Do you think it has to do with passion?
No.
Of individuals who are at the aim of affairs?
It's some kind of arrogance and pride that is taken overboard because you don't know everything. And so you need to ask questions for those who had been. I'm very sure that if somebody needs to find out information about Dolphins and Rivers United and it comes to you to say, what do you know about this? You should be able to provide.
I would tell them.
Exactly. But there are some people who will not bother to ask you. They go ahead and write the history of Dolphin and because they are in a position to write that history and don't care to consult. That is what happens. There are several people left out on that list. And I was looking forward to seeing Nigeria, maybe 61 icon to mark this year's 61 anniversary, but it didn't continue. And that's the fate of it because there were several names that were left out from that 60 that were given. So you ordinarily expect maybe by the next time when they will give. But by the time maybe one or two of these people is late and then you now want to give them out. Why don't you celebrate these people when they are alive? And
there's something that I always look at our father in the house, David Ibiome, closely, mostly when he comes to the on the altar to close a service or during big programs like the 5 Nights of Glory before. He he recognizes the presence of ministers who come for the program.
Exactly.
And then anybody he doesn't mention, he apologizes. And he tells you, look, it's not intentional. We don't ignore anybody here and all of that. It shows you that he's a great man, you know, but his humility, it goes a long way to show that this is someone that is a man of wisdom. You know, we don't recognize...
You know, if for you to know where you're going, you must strongly know where you're coming from.
Oh, yes.
That's it. That's the problem we have in this country. We don't value where we're coming from. And most times we miss our way to where we're going. It's very important that those who are charged with administration in the country must ask questions, because you didn't just jump there. There were a lot of people there. Like I mentioned to you, Epe Asuko was the very first, you know, at independence. It was a day after independence that match between Portuguese Guinea and Nigeria took place, you know, and he was the first to score an international goal at that stadium in Lagos. If I tell you about that stadium now in Lagos, I'm very sure that it's only now that they are beginning to use some kind of private initiative.
Yeah.
That stadium was left to rats and
at least we should see their pictures at the stadium.
Exactly.
Tell us about them.
So whoever comes must see it.
Exactly.
But if it's not there, the person who comes will not remember.
So our children, the implication is that our children will learn to leave legacies rather than commit crime or indulge in crime.
That's why I think it's one of the reasons why you get to see a lot of people who aside being journalists, sports journalists, all of that, are only interested in the European leagues, European sports, because that is what they see. That is what they know. You can take up your phone and check the 1999 UEFA Champions League, and then you know what's happening there. But you cannot do that for the things that happen here in Nigeria. If you go back
Before I get emotional, let me close the show. All right, that's the much we can actually take for tonight's show. It's been an amazing moment with you all here. Those of us at the studio, we want to say good night, stay safe, and God bless you. My name is Prince Wally, your chief servant.
Oh, what a tremendous goal! 1-0 to Barcelona.
And up and down.